And he started with this idea that we really needed to tackle people and processes first, and really look at how data works through that entire chain from the companies that support dairies to the people that are actually doing work on the farms and back again. So BoviSync was really developed with the goal in mind at the end of being able to get the right information to people while they're doing work cow side, and then having great information, clean information going back to the managers and owners to make decisions with, and then ultimately feeding you know the newer information that we're using every day, whether it's genomics or even the analytical the insights from our activity systems and our parlors, and really leveraging DHI data and parlors, just having that information available to make decisions. And kind of at its core, BoviSync is a very standardized data repository that leverages a mobile app that can be customized for the processes on any individual dairy. And then on the reporting side, we can customize the reports, and we can leverage that uniformity on the database to really deliver great tools for everybody, whether they're working with one dairy or multiple dairies as a consultant, or trying to manage multiple sites as a dairy owner. So we primarily look at the interface for the worker that's actually completing tasks on the farm as a communication device. We're looking at ways we can improve the compliance and prevent protocol drift by taking the farm SOPs and turning them into checklists, on a phone, and really being able to capture the information that's happening all the time on our farms, so we can identify training opportunities and identify, who needs support, who is leading our dairies. I think that's really the key. So if you consider the mobile app, what it does as a communication tool, I think that'll be helpful as Judy describes the mobile app.
All right. So two pieces of BoviSync, the web, which website, so you'd open it up on any computer in a web browser, and then the mobile app is for doing the work out in the barns. So the part of BoviSync, everything is, the cows are on the list because they had a chore assigned to them. So when we look at our home screen here, we have the chores. So that's everything we need to go out and do to the cows. The entering events, pen scoring, and vet check on our home screen. And we can also search for an animal. And the really nice thing that each person on the farm is assigned, has a login, and you can have each person have a device, or a couple of ways to do that. But ideally, we can get each person a device that's out doing the work, and they log in. So up at the top, you can see this is Chance is logged in, CR. And now every time that we're doing any entry on the device in the background, we're capturing the time and who did that work. So who gave that GnRH shot this afternoon and what time was it done? And that gives us some information in the background passively to start doing some really in-depth reporting. So just some screenshots here of what work lists look like. So this first one is a vaccination report. And on the screen, we can see all the individual cows that have that chore assigned to them. And you can see up at the top, we've either scanned or tapped on a couple of IDs. We have 13794, and their IDs are showing up in green. So we can actually change the colors on these. So if we were thinking about a lute and GnRH list, we could put our lute shots in red, green, and green for GnRH. So now we have another way to help make sure we get the right shots to the cows. So we'll hear an audible that it's lute or GnRH. And then we can also color code our bottles if we want. If we make a mistake and we tapped on the wrong cow, or a cow backed out before we did her out of a headlock, you can just drag her ID back down to the bottom. If you pull her ID up to the top, we can get more details, or we can hit the detail button down at the bottom as well. One other quick thing that I liked about this, so we get a lot of IDs on the screen, and then also if we want to see a description of why they're on there, easy to turn that on and off on the fly with the 3 lines in the top left-hand corner. So if we go into our detail view, we could customize what we see. So each work list, we're going to want to see different information. So if we're working with heifers, we're not going to want to see day in milk and lactation and milk. We're going to want to see age and days. More calf items, and so very easy to change just to make relevant what we want to see for that report. So everything in BoviSync, we're really wanting to make sure that we streamline. How do we save time? How do we reduce clicks and entry points for our team? And so if we already know that someone's logged in the phone, so this last screen we have showing doing a breeding entry, and these are called buttons underneath it, and each farm can customize what you want to see here. So your layout can look entirely different than this one here, depending on how you do your work, what you want to see. So here we have DR is logged into the phone, and if DR is already logged in, if David's already logged in, then do we need to have him put in a technician? So we're so used to breedings that we enter ID, event date, breeding code, technician code, NAB code, and do we really have to enter that all? So David's logged in, we don't need to enter technician. If we have 500 units of 7AN 5560s up, do we need to have someone keying that in? Because it's really not an uncommon support call that someone put in a bad NAB code for the last 6 months, and we got to go back and fix that. So if we can say we want to use this up, now David comes in and hits the 7AN 556, we don't have to prompt for the NAB code. If that cow is already in an OBSYNC protocol, do we need to enter that she was an OBSYNC breeding? So just ways that we can streamline entry, and every time that we reduce those touch points, it's one less place that we have a chance of getting something wrong. So the other thing I'm really excited about with when I started looking at the BoviSync app was the pen scoring. So everything in Dairy Conf is on an individual cow level. With the pen scoring, we can actually start doing things on a pen level. Here we go. So pen scoring. So when we click on that, we get the pick list of all the different things we can do at a pen level. So in here, we're doing urine pH. Up at the top, we can just select which pen we're doing. So pick whichever pen you're in, and then very easily you just push on the buttons of what that urine pH is, and down at the bottom you can see it's flashing that it's recording it. And then we can go in right there and see the frequency of each one we recorded. So instead of having a nutritionist, a consultant go out and walk the pen, and if they're looking at hygiene or locomotion and writing it down on a clipboard, then having to go back to the office and tally that up and then put that in some sort of usable result back to the farm. And then they've got to track it in another spreadsheet or somehow keep that together for you. Once we do that in the BoviSync app and record what pen and whatever we want to do, it's stored within BoviSync. So now we can go back and look at a graph of that information over time for that pen. So if we wanted to look at TDEN scores for pen 2 over time, it's all going to be together in one software. So really nice that we could start putting multiple things together to look at without having to go out to additional programs.
It's built to use on lock devices. It doesn't need to be connected to Wi-Fi to work. It doesn't need to be connected to a data plan. It's meant to be operated independently of the internet, and I think that really helps drive adoption. And because we're sending these chores out to the phone when the protocol enrollments happen, it builds a lot more robustness into the process plans on dairies. We don't have to have things happen in the morning before we go out on a server or computer. And it just really helps make sure that we have reliable processes on the dairies. I heard reporting and comparison reporting, benchmark reporting is something that is unique to BoviSync based on how we actually move animals in BoviSync and can do reporting on them. The tools are very responsive. Once we have that information in the browser, we can iterate on it. We can do things to it. We can winnow lists down. We can drill into the information. I think that is very intuitive when people start actually using the software. If you want to hand it off to somebody that doesn't have experience with herd management software, it's very easy to learn the basics and know how to get the information or the cows and heifers you need. And then that standardized information is what really allows us to support the software and for people to utilize it more efficiently across multiple farms. In the case of a consultant, for example, they don't have to worry about how information is stored so much, simply because it's all stored the same way. So we refer to the reporting system as Bovi Insights. I will have many reports that highlight the group by feature. It really allows you to compare different groups of animals, pen performance, even down to or up to a pen level. And then that traceability component, when we've adopted the mobile app, we gain that information of when things are actually happening. The technician and timestamp, for instance, is on every completed event, and we can find out what our true compliance is. What time are generate shots completed the day before we do an OVSync program? What is our compliance on early shots and a protocol? In the case of vaccines, I think it's really compelling that we can leave those vaccine chores on the device for a week or 2 weeks, and we have a larger window to complete those, and we have that comfort level knowing that those animals are going to show back up on that list, and we don't have to create a lot of time to make sure we're getting things done that we said we were going to get done.